And the last 3 is actually sneaking into the next chapter, but for some reason they put it on this chapter. Checking to see if an ordered pair is a solution to a system of equations. A system of equations just is referring that you have more than one equation. In order to be a solution, you have to get yes for both of your equations. We already did them with one equation. Now we have to get yes for both. So if you substitute it into the first one and get a no, there's really no reason to check the second one unless you just want to practice. If I'm going to do the 0.14 and I check it in my first equation says y equals 8x minus 4. I'm putting 1 in for the x and 4 in for the y. So I'm saying this 4 equal 8 times 1 is 8 minus 4.
Yes.
Well, if I do 8 minus 4, sure enough, that works. I get a yes. So it checked in the first line. That means I better check it in the second line. I have to get a yes and a yes in order to answer yes to the question. So I have negative 3 plus 2 times the y value. The y, I think she didn't put a variable in there when she typed that. Let me fix that. I think that's supposed to be negative 3x. There. Put an x behind your negative 3. So now if we check it, we're going to take negative 3 times the x value, which is 1, plus 2 times the y value, which we have is 4, to see if we get 5. If we solve that, do we get 5?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Negative 3 plus 8 is 5. So we got a yes on the first, a yes on the second. We get to answer yes for the solution to the system. It worked in both of them. So when I look at the next point, because if you get a no on either of them, you know it's going to be no. Which one is easier for you to substitute into? Do you want to use the first line or the second line? The second line. Okay, let's use the second line. So we're going to take negative 3 times negative 7 plus 2 times negative 8 to see if we get an answer of 5. We do get 5. 21 minus 16 is 5. That means we've got to check the other line. So now we've got to check our other line. Y equals, so our y value is negative 8. Does that equal 8 times the x value? So 8 times negative 7 minus 4. So if you take 8 times negative 7 minus 4,
Nope.
no, that doesn't work. So since this was a yes, but this was a no, the answer is going to be no, because in order to be yes, it has to work in both of them. So then we get to check the next point. See, these ones aren't short. So, do you want to try it in the first line or the second line first? Doesn't really matter. You guys are just busy working away. The first one? So in the first one, the y value is 5. Does 5 equal 8 times the x value? So 8 times negative 3 minus 4.
Nope.
No, it doesn't. So we don't even have to check the second line because it didn't work in the first one. And then we're going to check the last point. Do you want to check that in the first or the second line? The first line, okay? So my y value is negative 4. Does that equal 8 times my x value, which is 0, minus 4? Oh, so it worked in that one. Since it worked in that one, we now have to check the second one also. So negative 3 times the x value, which is 0, plus 2 times the y value, which is negative 4. Does that give us a 5?
Negative 8.
it gives us negative 8. That's not 5, right? So since this was no, even though that was yes, we're still going to say
No.
no. So number 11, checking 60 in our first line. How would we do that?
Negative 2 times 6 plus 9 has to equal 0.
And does that equal 0?
It's negative 3.
It's negative 3. So we don't have to check the second line. It didn't work in the first line. So then we can hop to the second point. If we check the second point in our first line, we would have what?
In our first one,
The second point in the first line, yeah?
4. No, negative 2 times 4.
Negative 2 times 4 plus 9, does that equal
Equals 1.
1?
So that works in that
So
one.
that one works in that one. So since it worked in that one, now we got to check the second line. So checking the second line, we would do what?
4 times 4 plus 2 times 1 has to equal 18. Oops, error.
Whoop, try it again then. Equals 18. So we got a yes and we got another yes. We get to mark yes. So now we check the third point. So on the third point, negative 2 times, what number?
5.
5 plus 9. Does that equal the minus 3 of our point?
1, no.
Nope, so we can just say no. Uh-huh.
On that 4 times 4. Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. I got it.
And then we can check that last point. So negative 2 times 5 plus 9, does that equal? So that one worked on the first line, so we got to check the second line. So checking our second line, 4 times negative 5 plus 2 times 19. Does that equal 18 when we're done?
Yes.
Yes, it does. We got a yes and a yes. Hey, we got 2 yeses on that table. And one last set here. So, checking the first one. 2 times the 0 minus 5 times our negative 7. Does that give us an answer of 4?
Nope.
Nope. Since that's no, we can just mark no. So we check our next point. 2 times negative 8 minus 5 times negative 4. Does that equal 4?
It's 4.
It does equal 4. So now we've got to check the second equation. So negative 3 times negative 8 plus 2 times my y value, negative 4. Does that equal 5?
16.
It equals 16, so it doesn't equal 5. It's a no. So then we go back to our first line and our third point. 2 times negative 3 minus 5 times negative 2. Does that equal 4?
Equals 4.
Okay, so it worked in that one. We got to check the second one then. So negative 3 times the x value of negative 3 plus 2 times the y value of negative 2. Does that give me 5?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. So we got a yes and a yes. Our whole system then is a yes. And one last one to check. Putting in the 1 and the 4. 2 times 1 minus 5 times 4. Does that equal 4? No, it doesn't. So in order to be a solution to the system, it has to be a yes on both equations. Otherwise, it's a no. All righty. That is the end of the chapter.